Hey everyone, it's Justine, and I made a big change this year. Originally, I was going to make my 12 Days of Christmas card tutorials this year a paid class. However, I decided to just give back to my amazing community here that watches my videos and make the course absolutely free. So the 12 Days of Christmas video tutorials themselves will be up here on YouTube all month throughout the month, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. However, on those days, I am going to be putting in my classroom that again is free to sign up for a whole bunch of bonus content and extra videos. And for all of my VIP members, you get even more bonus videos than that. So the 12 Days of Christmas is absolutely free. Below in the video description, I have a link to my classroom where you can sign up there for free to get all the free bonus downloads, extra videos, and all that fun stuff over on my classroom. Just go to the video description below and then continue watching the tutorial. Thanks so much. Bye. All right, for the 12 Days of Christmas this year, I have a few things in mind. I want to create beautiful, but simple enough to create bulk cards out of for my Christmas cards. I want to inspire you with several designs that you can pick one or a couple and make bulk cards. I'm also going to focus a lot more on technique rather than very specific supplies because I know we don't all have time to go and order them, wait for them to come in, and then create a card that's exactly the same. So I'm hoping you can substitute with your own stuff. So you'll notice here I am going to give you tip number 1 for the 12 Days of Christmas when it comes to creating bulk cards is for this card here. I am creating and ink blending a very large piece of cardstock. No, I'm not making a slimline card here. I am actually ink blending on this large of a piece of cardstock so I can cut it down for multiple cards later. So I'm doing the ink blending once on this sheet of paper, and this should give me enough to make about 5 cards. So grab a long sheet of paper, whether it's 11 or 12 inches long, by about 4 inches, and start your ink blending. The masking that I just cut out here, you'll see I just trimmed it with my scissors to create a little bit of a snowbank that's going to protect my surface there. And I'm going to be ink blending using 3 colors: Chipped Sapphire, Salty Ocean, and Tumbled Glass, aka a light, a medium, and a dark blue. I always say when you're creating bulk cards, you want to make sure that your steps are really quick and easy and that you don't have more than one step that takes you a bit of time. So this one that I chose that is maybe a little bit more on the tedious side or that takes a long time or longer time is ink blending. And because I'm using Oxide ink, and again, you don't have to use Oxide ink, which contains a pigment, it stays a little wet, it's a little bit more forgiving so that I can be a little bit rougher with the ink blending and it's still gonna look okay at the end. Doesn't matter what kind of blending tool you use here or what kind of inks, you can go ahead and create yourself a beautiful blend. So I now have my ink blending completely finished here. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in a couple of elements still. So I'm grabbing that darkest color that I just used and I'm going over this really pretty Snowflakes Stencil and I'm just creating a little bit more interest in the night sky. The nice thing about this is that it doesn't need to be perfect. So you can see here, I'm just going in and inking the snowflakes, but I can easily move the stencil over to the right side and it's not going to be a hassle or anything to line things up. And I can add snowflakes wherever I feel that the snowflakes aren't enough. And don't worry, these all look like they're kind of in a very set pattern, but because we're going to chop up this piece of cardstock later, it's no big deal if anything gets ruined or if we make a mistake. And the best part for sure when it comes to ink blending and masking is removing that mask. You'll see I'm keeping my fingers quite close to the paper and I'm just pulling off to the right as best I can here. This is going to help eliminate your chance of your paper ripping. And you can see there my fingers were way too far away from the cardstock, so it ripped just very, very slightly. But as I said, we're chopping this up into little strips. So if one of them gets ruined, it's not a big deal at the end of the day. But just keep that in mind when you're masking. Keep your fingers close to the cardstock and peel off close to it. The next thing I'm going to do is just grab my paper trimmer and you can really decide the thickness of the strips that you want to create, whether they're 1/2 inch or a 3/4 inch. I'm going to go with a 3/4 inch here. A 1/2 inch, you're going to get yourself some more strips, of course, and so you can make more cards out of this one sheet. But either way, it works fine. You can also create a mixture. Some are 1/2 inch and some are 3/4 to give yourself a variety. So I'm going to chop down this piece of cardstock and then I will have enough strips to make about 4 or 5 cards. Now, if you want to go the extra mile and take extra steps here, of course, you can wait for your background to dry, and then you can stencil over top with some white embossing paste, for example, and then have white snowflakes. Or maybe you want to add some embossing powder over top. All of those are completely fine ideas. Meanwhile, I set all my strips off to the side. I'm going to grab some die cuts here. These 3 come in one pack, which is really time efficient. So when you're creating, for example, a card and you have to create 3 trees on one card and you're using the exact same die, that means if I'm making 10 cards, I gotta run that through my die cutting machine like 30 times. So I like the fact that these trees came in a pack of 3, but again, you can make do with just 1. Okay, so I'm going ahead and I'm adding my strips here to my cardstock, and I have a panel cut out that is 4 by 5¼ inches for my background. And I'm adding some of these strips and I'm leaving space in between. I always glue down the right and the left first before gluing down the middle. You can also have your card have 3, 4, 5 strips of this color. It is completely up to you. So originally I thought about putting some higher than the other or having them all the same length. I wasn't too sure, so I glued down the middle one, but I definitely changed up my design later. So keep watching if you're crafting along with me to see what I changed up. So I'm grabbing my tree here and I'm grabbing the largest one to put in the center, and I'm going to add the trees on either side. For the smaller ones. You'll notice I also use 3 types of gold cardstock. Again, not necessary, but adds a little bit of a variety. One is a matte gold, one is a mirror gold, and one is gold glitter. I did in the end remove that middle strip, and that's what I love about using liquid glue is it gives you some time to change your mind. And I decided to offset them a little bit so that the middle strip here was a little bit lower than the ones on the right and the left. Now in the video description below, when you go ahead and access all your bonus videos today, I'm going to also have a coordinating tag and a coordinating envelope up there on how to create them easily. And you're going to have some homework to write down the steps of your card if this is the card you're going to choose as your inspiration for your bulk card making. This has pretty easy, simple, quick steps, and that's what I love about it. If you want to check out some more card tutorials, I have a playlist of some of my favorite card tutorials I've ever created. Here on the right, you can click on that and continue watching for more inspiration. Bye for now, and see you Wednesday.